You probably don't realize it yet, but you're 6 months away from improving your art so much that you wouldn't believe it's yours. So let me tell you all the things that you need to make these 6 months the best for your improvement. So first we need to learn the basics, which are fundamentals. So these fundamentals are super important, you probably heard it, but it's basically a pillar for everything else. And we need to have a basic understanding of every fundamental. And with knowing them, you'll be able to draw pretty much everything. So real quick, what are the fundamentals? And there's a couple of them, which first one is gestures, then anatomy, perspective, form and structure, light and shadow, color, composition, and design. So now let me explain each one so you'll have a pretty good understanding of what you need to learn. So first we have gestures, which are pretty much the thing that will help you show gestures, that will help you show movement, energy, and a flow in your drawing. And it's about capturing the energy, the essence of the pose or the gesture of the thing. It helps you make your drawing more alive and less stiff. So pretty much it's super important when you want to draw a pretty dynamic pose. Next we have anatomy, which is understanding of the human body, and you'll be able to draw the human body and have understanding of each muscles and how they work. So yeah, knowing all the muscles, all the bones, all the relationships between them, how they work, and how human is built. And with that you can play with the proportions, and then you can build different types of bodies. And then we have form and structure, which will help you turn your 2D canvases and turn them into 3D objects. I mean, objects that look like 3D. It will help you with actually building the drawing with basic shapes and forms. And then we have perspective, which will help you with placing objects in 3D space, and it will help you with drawing different things from different angles and distances. Next one is light and shadow, which is basically being able to draw a light and shadow and add depth and realism and also a mood with these. So by understanding this, you'll be able to capture, like show, express different emotions, different moods, different feelings, and it's super useful if you want to tell stories. Then we have colors, which also can show the mood, but also can make your viewer be focused on some parts of your drawing, but also will help you with showing harmony in your drawing. So pretty much knowing what colors work well with what colors. Then we have composition, which is basically how you arrange the drawing, the background, all the boxes in your drawing, all the, I don't know, like things. But not only that, it also helps you with making your drawing more interesting, so you'll be able to put more places of focus. It will help you with making actually a readable drawing, and will help you with actually making the drawing more appealing. And next we have design, which will help you with making your drawing much more appealing, with making pretty nice looking shapes. Whenever it's character's outfit, whenever it's hair or a body part, you'll be able to make these things much more interesting with knowing how to actually use shapes, but also how to actually show contrast, not only in shapes but also with different things. But now, depending on what type of artist you'll want to actually be, then you'll have to actually learn different things. So for example, when you want to be an illustrator for characters in League of Legends, then you'll probably need to know a little bit of anatomy, but also about colors, shading, obviously gestures to make those poses pretty nice, also about composition, and you pretty much have to know everything. But for example, when you want to be a background artist, so you don't have to pretty much draw people super detailed, you can just have an understanding of this fundamental at a basic level. But yeah, it's super important to actually choose what artist you want to be. So I mean, obviously you can draw whatever you want, but if you want to improve as fast, then just pick one path, I guess. So you can be either a concept artist, an illustration for characters, a weapon concept artist, a background artist, a monster artist, just pick one path and stick to it. Pick what you actually like to draw. It's super simple. Also, if you want my brushes, they are for free in the description below, and with them you'll also get 30 art tips that will help you with improving your art in 30 days. But now, how to actually practice that? And with that we'll go to the next step. So what I did in the beginning of my journey, I would only copy stuff that I saw, and I didn't really had any thought in my brain while I was doing this. And after doing this for many months, I realized that I didn't really make much progress. So after looking online, I found out 3 ways that I can practice, and one actually I came up with myself, and these are super simple and will help you with improving your art in different spaces. So the first one is called time practice, and for this you can use a simple phone timer or an app called Gesture Search, which is free, that I use all the time, no sponsor. So pretty much pick a topic that you want to improve, then pick references for it, then choose how many references you want to actually go through, and then how much time for each one. I recommend doing anything from 30 seconds to 300. And then you just press start and you go and you just try to capture the thing and thinking about what you actually want to improve. So don't focus on small details, focus on big shapes, the things that you actually want to improve. And because of the limited time, you'll be forced to actually think about big picture, about big shapes. And it also will help you with being a perfectionist, because in the beginning, you won't finish any of your drawings. I mean, obviously it depends on the time that you set, but pretty much it will be hard to actually finish in this time. And that's a good thing, because if you're just practicing anything without really time, then you don't really know when to finish and you just go over the same thing and you don't really learn much. But also you'll get much faster. So with each practice, you'll just be better, you'll learn more, you'll be faster, and you'll actually be able to finish some things in even like 30 seconds, which is pretty good. Now, next method is to study. And here we basically want to also pick a topic, then pick a reference, a good reference that we can learn from, and study that topic. So pretty much just put it on the side of your canvas or just use a PureRef and then just try to observe the reference first, just lay down all the things that you want to improve and then just draw, try to capture it. And after you finish, you want to compare the drawing that you just did to the reference. And it's pretty good, it's actually amazing to just write these things down. So all the things that you were off, all the things that were pretty bad, all the things that you could improve, just write them down. And you can even just lay your drawing on top of the reference and check it this way, how you were off. So yeah, after you wrote these things down, then you go and just draw it again. And this time you know the mistakes that you did, so just try to fix them and draw it again. And the next practice is actually good for drawing things in perspective. So pretty much just again, pick a topic that you want to improve. And here it's mostly about objects. So not really light, although you can still like light angles and stuff, you can actually practice it this way. But yeah, just pick an object. For example, it can be a simple faces in perspective. So here just pick a good reference and just place it in the basic front view, okay? Draw it and then basically rotate the reference. It's actually good to use 3D, but basically rotate the reference in any angle you want and just draw it. I recommend actually going from front view, then a little bit 3/4, side, then up, down, and pretty much angles between them. It will help you with drawing everything in perspective. And if you do this a couple of times, you will actually be able to draw it even from memory, which is pretty sick. So then we go to the next point. As I said before, I wasn't really thinking while I was drawing. It was pretty mindless and I would just, scribbling things down. And that's a mistake. We want to study things like books, courses, tutorials, YouTube tutorials, every tutorial that we can get. But don't just read it or watch it and don't do anything else. We need to actually study that with intention to improve and intention to actually remember things and understand them. So instead, just follow the tutorials, follow the books, the courses, do the examples from them. Same with books, same with courses, whatever. Okay, just try to draw the examples. But here's the most important thing. You want to take super simple notes, which basically are the description of the thing. So how it works, how it attaches to whatever, what's the shapes. Just explain the thing with your own words in simple terms. Don't just write an essay, just a couple of words, even one word will be enough. But yeah, that's the most important thing, because if you can describe it, then you understand it. And this is the point. We want to understand the topic. So then we can go and just practice things. And we can do that with these 3 methods that I said before. But yeah, we want to practice things. But you can also still take notes while you're practicing. But to be honest, just take notes even if you're drawing just for yourself, okay? That's what I did recently when I finished a drawing. I mean, not really finished, but finished drawing for a day. What I did, I just look at it and I said, okay, what can I improve? Okay, I can raise this arm higher. And that's what I wrote. That was super simple and it will help me with drawing next time. And also recently I was struggling with coloring the drawing. And I thought to myself, okay, I can just go and study colors and then I'll know how to actually follow through with this drawing. And that's also good. But yeah, just think about the drawing, think about the things that you're reading, learning, try to understand them and try to actually think how to improve them. So now go to the next one. So in these 3 months, we pretty much want to build a mileage and also build a habit that will help us with days that you don't really want to draw, with building a consistency. But why we want to build a habit when we can just draw whenever we're motivated? And it's because it's not reliable. And here's why. Sometimes you won't be motivated to draw. Maybe you'll be more motivated to actually just waste time. And that's okay. And therefore we won't draw anything. And you may say, okay, you'll be drawing for a couple of hours at weekends. And that's a pretty bad idea. It's because we can learn only so much in one day, and if you just bunch these things up in one day, then you won't remember and won't understand as much, okay? Because all the knowledge that we learn throughout the day is being saved while we sleep. I rather actually draw every single day for an hour than draw like 15 hours every weekend, because you'll just get overwhelmed. But also with drawing daily, you don't have to warm up as much and as long, because you won't be rusty because you're drawing every day. You also don't have to relearn, and also you don't have to relearn all the things that you learned on the weekend. And pretty much it's super OP to draw daily. But I do understand that it's super difficult to be consistent to draw daily. I struggled with this for a long time. I struggled with it to this day. So it's not easy, but we can make it much simpler to actually be more consistent. So even 30 minutes a day will actually help you with being more consistent. And also don't stress with missing a couple of days, because looking at the bigger time frame, what we'll see that you're actually improving. You're actually being more consistent. Maybe a couple of months ago, you was drawing just once a week. And now you're drawing like 3 to 4 days a week, which is an improvement. And you probably won't see it because you're thinking about, yeah, you messed up and you didn't draw that day. If you make the time horizon much bigger, then you can see that you're actually making improvement. And to make it even much easier to actually start drawing every day, what we can do is we can do a simple warming up routine. So pretty much at the beginning, just fill the whole canvas with circles. Then we want to place a dot and then shoot straight lines in different angles. Then we want to place a multiple random dots and connect them using straight lines. And then we can do a couple of 30 seconds gesture drawings, and that's everything. And it's super easy to do, and you can start wherever you want. But still, sometimes you may not be motivated to draw, not at all. But trust me when I say this, motivation follows action. So if you just, force yourself, I know it's a bad word, but I don't really care. So if you force yourself to actually sit and draw, just pick up your pen and draw, you will realize that first, you won't really regret drawing that day, okay? Second, you'll actually see that you're just in the flow, okay? You just check time and it's been like 2 hours of drawing and you didn't really know that the time passed. So starting is always harder than actually keep going. And you can just start even staring at the blank canvas. You'll see that you just pick the pen up and you start drawing. Now, next point. So with only practicing, you'll see that you'll burn out pretty quick. That's what I did in the beginning. I would only practice. But we want to actually have fun while drawing. It's the whole point, at least for me. I want to have fun. It's fun to draw. So the rule is super simple that will help you with it. Basically 50-50. For each minute, each hour that you spend practicing, just spend the same amount of time drawing for yourself, drawing whatever you like. It can be even like tracing other people's work. Just obviously don't post it, just draw it for yourself, okay? Just have fun with drawing. That's the whole point. So that's what actually helped me, just taking a bunch of drawings from my favorite artists, putting them on, the side monitor, the second monitor, and just trying to draw them. It's super simple. It doesn't really require much energy. You just see a drawing, you just try to draw it. Simple. But also here what will happen, because you see a drawing that you're drawing, it will be naturally better, because also it's from a really good artist that you like, and you'll see that the drawing that you did is actually pretty good. It's pretty fire, and you just get a huge motivation boost. That's what I've been getting all the time whenever I do that. And with that, you just understand that you can actually draw, that you just miss the knowledge to actually being able to draw it on your own. So yeah, you just need experience, and the only thing that's between you and you that you can draw in these 6 months is the time and experience. So try to spend these 6 months as good as you can, so the beginning of next year you'll just be on a whole new level. And imagine how good your art will be if you just stick to it. You'll try to be consistent, you'll try to practice, and you'll actually do this. And also, if you want something that will help you with improving your art in these 6 months, is my Patreon. I have monthly tutorials that you can get. So link in the description. So now to recap everything real quick. First, we want to focus on fundamentals, which are the basics of drawing. With that, you can draw pretty much everything. Then we want to practice the right way, and we have 3 types of practice that you can do: some time practice, studies, and basically drawing things in different angles. And then we want to actually think while we're drawing and focus on improving our weak points. And to know them, you can just take notes while you draw. And I don't mean to just take a book and just write it in there, but just make a new layer on top, pick a red brush and just write things down. okay? Then you can just hide it. Then we want to actually build a strong habit and try to draw daily and start small. It will help you to actually learn more, and also it will help you with building a pretty strong habit that is really hard to break. And lastly, we want to actually have fun while we draw, so we want to pretty much do 50-50. So each time you practice, you put the same time into drawing for yourself. But also we want to just doodle, you can even copy other artists, don't post it, just draw for yourself. But there is another thing that can help you with improving your art even in matter of hours, and it's these tools that I'm showing in this video, so you can go and watch it. Bye.